on this episode of Love Social.
All right, y'all. So this is the second take of this because we accidentally was recording. We had about 20 minutes of the show done and realized we never pressed the record button. So
Epic fail.
Epic fail. On today's episode of Love Social Season 2, Episode 2, we are diving into relationships. Yeah, in particular, lovers and friends. So we're going to be talking about
friends.
Yeah, exactly. Why it's important to be friends with the person you're in love with, what that looks like, what we love and hate about each other's friendships, and if that actually gets in the way of our intimacy. So we're going to take you on the journey of our relationship, friendships, all of that, how we develop those friendships that we lost along the way, friendships that we gained. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's all going to be on today's episode. So make sure you listen. It's love episode. It's Love Social Season 2,
together.
Episode 2. And let's go.
The sky turns gray against a fiery display of red and golden hues, like the day I felt for you. So what will you do when the sun begins to fall? I'm waiting here for you. Won't you answer my call? Don't you want to
get cozy with me? You know, I must have hit the button on so I use my phone to change the scenes and stuff, and I'm pretty sure I must have hit this button to stop recording. Hold on, pause. I'm drinking Kool-Aid, y'all. See, I was drinking Kool-Aid, I showed my cup and everything. We had about 20 minutes of this episode recorded, and then fucked around and found out that it wasn't recording. And I don't know if these big ass thumbs hit.
Probably.
I probably did, because I'm trying to manage this laptop
Do too much.
and the soundboard and the phone at the same time.
And you know damn well men are not good at multitasking.
No, we not. So apologies. So we're gonna try this again. This is Season 2, Episode 2 of Love Social. Today's episode is Lovers and Friends, and today we're going to be talking about the friendship dynamics. Why it's important to. Let me change my. There we go. Why it's important to be friends with your lover,
your partner. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So with that, we want to talk about how our friendship evolved over the years. So take it back to 2008, right?
Yep.
We did the Logging On show. Y'all, Season 1, Episode 1. Kind of talked about how we met, Facebook and all that good stuff. But, you know, we met. It was lust at first, right? You know.
Of course. I mean.
Got a nice ass and this and that. You know, little bee sting titties like I like. Kind of built like Pinky, one of my favorite porn stars.
Well, based on the law of attraction, there has to be that before we could have even came together. So naturally, we were attracted to each other.
Sorry. She had that wagon. That ship wagon. Yeah, there we go. Had that dump truck. That's what I was attracted to. And on top of that, she's beautiful. So, but yeah, we was attracted to each other. Physical first, right? Then you get to know the person and so on and so forth, and then that's what you fall in love with, right? It's kind of the total package.
Right.
A lot of relationships struggle with that friendship piece. It's all like lust, or it's all predicated on them being. There's no friendship, right?
Right.
So that's the challenge. When we met, yeah, if we not taken the next step and become friends, then it would have been a struggle. But you know, we've evolved over the years. I think we've spent a lot of time together. Obviously, we do a whole fucking podcast together, so we do a lot together. And yeah, Miss Kiki, it's just gonna be a struggle. Miss KikiBaby, I'm gonna do my best to say this every time on the show without stuttering or laughing or saying I ain't gonna call you that, but I'm just gonna happen again, y'all.
So, well, you know what? You mentioned how we met back in 2008. Back then, you had quite a few friends and quite a few friends of the opposite sex. So tell us about how those relationships kind of evolved over time, or the roles that they played, and how, we've come to the point in our relationship that we are now.
Oh, you didn't tell me you was interviewing me. Well, Kiara Winfrey. For me, there was never. No. For me, there was a never. And I got cat hair on this mic.
Oh my God.
For me, there was never an issue with my female friends. That was more like your issue. Now, having said that, I did respect, and that kind of goes back to, when you really love somebody, right? And when this is how I knew it wasn't lust for me, is because it actually bothered me that she was bothered about certain friendships I had. There were certain times where I just, kind of put my foot down, like, this ain't that, and she understood that and she respected that. But again, those relationships changed, right? And it's some things you just don't do in a relationship out of respect for your partner, right?
There are some sacrifices for it.
Well, yeah. For example, I used to hang out at my female friend's house all the time, right? I've never had sex with them, never made passes, none of that. What is it called? Platonic? Is that what it is?
Yep.
100% platonic relationships with all of my female friends. If I call you a friend, that's what you are, right? And and never have crossed that, that line. And so it was very difficult, and we fought about it a lot. But, sometimes you got to understand that if it's making your partner uncomfortable, that's a sacrifice you have to make. Not necessarily deading the friendship, but just certain things you just can't do, right?
Just got to move a little bit differently. Doesn't have to mean you cut them off completely, like you were saying. Just
right.
Things are going to change when you have somebody that's if you put them in a position where they're significant in your life, then you're going to make compromises to make sure that you continue to cultivate that relationship and don't lose it.
Right. But sometimes it borders on it can border on, what do they call it? Insecurity. Yep. And so, that's when, as not only a friend, but as a person, you have to put your foot down and say, listen, you can't do that. That's not fair to me and my friends. They were in the picture before, and we've had, Karen and I've had these arguments, and they ain't been like, nice talks. They've been arguments. Like, you can't come in here and just kind of upend my life. You know what I'm saying? Because like, Kiara is an introvert.
I am definitely.
Miss KikiBaby is an introvert.
A handful of friends, literally.
Nah, you got
probably less than 5.
You got like a Hansen full. If y'all ever seen a scary movie,
whatever.
Scary movie 2, you got like a Hansen full.
Whatever.
It's like you maybe got 1 or 2 really good.
I just have a close knit circle. I have trust issues. I don't let too many people in, because then I don't have. That's less people I have to be watchful of, less people I have to wonder what their motives are, and so on and so forth. So,
and nothing that I've done to create this issue. She just came with that shit.
Sure.
But that was we fought a lot about that kind of stuff early on, but eventually our friendships kind of, they became what they became, right? And not everything, I have friends from childhood all the way up through 12th grade that I thought were going to be my friends forever, and they still are, but our relationships are different because we're in different places. We're physically in different places, and then we're just in different spaces, and and that doesn't mean we're not friends. It just means that our friendship evolved, and that's okay. I did an episode on my now defunct ex Hey Big Head show, trying to get revived into something else. Mom's Basement, shameless plug. My best friend Q and I talked about this. Like, there are different friendships for different things. I have professional friends. I have friends that are, childhood friends. I have friends that, it's one of those situations. And I think everybody has a friend like this, where if I see you and we cool, it's just we just pick up where we left off, right? And then I have a friendship with my wife, which is entirely unique to all of those relationships, because, there not only is there a layer of friendship with my wife, there's a layer of, of the love, right? That's why we wanted to talk about this on this episode. So yeah, I mean, it was a challenge. Now, Miss Kiki baby. See, I told you I was gonna do that. When I came in the picture, I kind of caught you at your thought phase. So why don't you tell me?
did.
Why don't you tell me about your? No, I ain't gonna call you out. But why don't you tell me about? Why don't you tell me about how it was for you when we met, and why I'm your only friend now? Because I think
Not my only, you just my bestie.
Oh gosh, my bestie. Yeah, why am I your bestie? Cue the music.
Well, so you're my bestie because you are that one person that I feel I can be authentic and unapologetically me. I don't have to worry about being shamed, being judged, being looked at a certain type of way because I know that you have my back and you support me 100%. And that just came with a lot of time, patience, and growth with one another, just getting to know each other ins and outs very deeply. I feel like I can talk to you about anything. And whenever I have something bothering me, whether it's with kids, with work, with whatever it is, I feel I can come to you and talk to you. And that it's not many people I can do that with that might not look at it a certain way, judge, or just be like, you know. So I just feel like, yeah, our friendship is just one that's unmatched. And I love that about us because it took us a while to get here. And I said it developed from the moment that we met. And I agree. I did put you in some compromising situations with your friends, just being that when I came into your life, I felt like...
Hold on, what Beyonce say? Oh, you're jealous.
Whatever. I had a lot of jealousy. And I felt like there should not be any other woman that has your attention but me.
It's possessive. That's what it was. Mm-hmm. Now, having said that,
I was the only child, so of course I'm gonna hold on to anything that I have. It's mine.
True. And thank you for all the kind words and everything. And when the one I recorded before, I said, "Man,"
I know that was funny.
Such wasted moments.
Wrong.
Some wasted moments.
With them?
And luckily, I just happened to look at the computer and like, bro, this is not recording. And sure enough, we had 9 seconds of that episode recorded, y'all. 9 seconds. But anyway, and we had been talking for 20 minutes. But yeah, I agree. I agree with all of that. I think how can I say this? We have learned to really let a lot of the petty stuff, kind of be. And that's what real friendships are about. The challenge was when we first started dating, and I think a lot of relationships struggle with this, is how can you turn the corner from intimacy to being okay with being around somebody 365 days a year? Because when I was young and single, I never in a million years would have imagined that me and everybody that knows me, this is probably a shock that I did the whole family thing, but I never would have imagined that I would be able to be, and I was never a dog kind of guy, but I was also never a one woman man. Is that what that says? One woman man. Mm-hmm. So I just preferred to be single.
Rolling Stone.
I wasn't a Rolling Stone, but I just preferred to be single. So it was an adjustment. And it's not that, when you truly fall in love with somebody that you truly love, and I like to say truly because some people say I love you, but I don't know if it's true. If you truly love them, you make a lot of concessions, and, some people understand that and some people don't, but you do end up developing a friendship, like a real friendship.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Speaking of friendships, let me tell you what I love about my baby mama.
Okay.
Cue my music. Yeah, girl. And yeah, I'm looking over here at the wall because the way our camera's set up, I guess if I look at you directly, it's going to be looking like I'm looking away from you.
Yeah.
So again, technical stuff, y'all. We still working it out. we do all the production. We do all the editing, all that shit. It's done in house.
That's right.
Matter of fact, let me check to make sure I'm recording. Yeah, I'm looking at the computer, but I'm actually, okay, let me over here. Do it look like I'm looking at you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Anyway, no, the things I love about my wife is that she's real cool. She's actually funny, but a lot of what she does, she does it behind the scenes, and she doesn't ask for like the look at me stuff. She's never been the type to, I think a lot of people like to live their lives and live their relationships online. Like, look at my man do this, look at us do this and do that. Everything she does it, you can tell it's from the bottom of her heart. It's genuine. She countless sacrifices for us. Her time, her energy, even when she don't want to do something or she don't feel like doing something, she got to be mom all the time. And all these are all the little things I appreciate about her. But she's also really cool to hang out with, right? And, we just have conversations. A lot of and this is why our relationship, I think, is as strong as it is that 95% of what we talk about has nothing to do with, like the smoochy stuff you see in the movies. We hang out like friends.
Yes.
We truly have a friendship, and then we kind of we'll sprinkle in some the love side here and there. When obviously it's it is a different level of friendship, but that's wherein lies the challenge. We love each other, and it's a different strength of love. It's a different level of love, but we do get a challenge. The challenge becomes, how we break that up, because we don't always do that well.
Yeah, and I just want to add to that what you were saying. It's really hard to keep a relationship going if the only thing you have to hold on to is, I love you. Okay, that's it. Well, what else? What deeper meaning or what deeper connection do you have? So it's really important to get to know your partner in and out. Don't rush things. I honestly do not know how people get in a relationship or they get engaged and they do not live with each other until they're married. I could not do that.
Yeah, I couldn't have been growing up in the traditional times.
No.
Because I think that would have really hurt, because we dated for 5 years before we got married.
Yep.
And so that 5 years was tumultuous. Like, a lot of shit happened in that 5 years.
We got unengaged. It was, yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that this season, about the time the police got called. Like the peak. But we went through that. And Kiara is a very I applaud her for the growth over the years, because baby and this is stuff I pray about.
Very immature, yes.
This is stuff I pray about, that my daughters don't become like, they already act a lot like their mom naturally, right? Because that it's just one of those things. But I hope they don't get certain traits that she had when we were in our infancy as both as friendships and lovers, friendships and lovers, both as lovers and friends, because we have come a long way. Yeah. The marriage wouldn't have happened if we didn't have those 5 years to buffer, where we lived with each other, where we was really around each other like that. Like it was like, come home, like go to school, then go to work, then come home and deal with the same person. And when you say it out loud, it's like, damn, that sounds like a depressing thing. And I see it a lot online now, that people are really like, they're disencouraging people to get married. Like, I don't need to get married. Why do I need to get married? Like, do what you want to do. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, I don't think there's any stronger commitment to somebody that you can make than to say, I want to spend the rest of my life with you.
Agree.
And the marriage, I almost pressed. Let me put this mouse up here.
Please.
No, nothing changed when we got married. Other than she took my last name.
That's it.
But the relationship was still the same.
Yep.
Right?
And I think that's, a lot of people ask, well, what changed when you get married? If you've built a friendship and you have a love and dedicated, committed relationship, nothing should change but your last name for the women. And that's only if you do the traditional, American way of taking the spouse's last name. But nothing should really change.
And nothing really did change. What did change for me was, because I have a moral compass. There at that point, once I said I do.
Oh shit, I'm stuck for life.
Well, that's what I felt like, because I always felt like, if I ever got married, I wasn't getting married again. Even before I met Kiara, that was one of my, I'm one and done.
That's right.
And so I always in the back of my mind felt that there was always an out, even when we were dating, right? When we were engaged, we came close. There was, like I said, we'll talk about that in another episode. Well, we came close to being not what we are. One time that was kind of like the peak of everything, but I think that night changed everything for everybody, for good. But when we got married, that's when it just stuck that, like, okay, it's not that easy to leave now, and now you're in it. Now you're in it for the long haul, and so certain things you just kind of had to make work, right?
Right.
But the friendship was always there. Like before I met Kiara, we used to go. By we, I mean me. I used to go to Florida a lot. When I met her, now she was my plus one,
Right.
and so on and so forth. And we made it a trip to do like the Disney and all the parks and stuff like that.
So speaking of that, I mean, that's all a part of that friendship. So if you guys can't find something that you guys enjoy doing together, find out that there is a connection between something you enjoy and that other person, and come together and do it together, you're going to struggle, because I don't think with any marriage, dating should never be off the table. Dating should always be a part of your life. So like CJ and I cannot wait. We got Yaya in preschool. So you best believe that when she's in school, we are going to find time during the day while all the kids are at school to date. Because right now we can't really get away. We have to date with the kids.
Yeah, always. So anytime we post something, it's always with these goddamn kids.
Yes.
But that's that's part of the the relationship, the marriage. But again, when we got married, nothing changed. It was just more of like, okay, this is a true commitment now. And that's all it is. And I think that, marriage gets a bad stigma. It's like, why do marriages end in divorce? I think a lot of marriages end in divorce because people are getting married for the wrong reasons. Maybe there's a child involved, or maybe one of the people in the relationship feel like, I can't be without this person. So whatever I need to do to keep them around, I'm going to do it. Right. Some people get married out of sympathy, right? Well, I would feel bad for leaving her or him, so let me just marry him, right? And then they're unhappy. You should always, excuse me, that was a Kool-Aid burp.
Your happiness should be paramount to anybody. Your mental health is what's most important.
Exactly.
And don't drag people along. If you know in your heart that is not the person that you could see waking up every day dealing with their bull crap, looking at their eye boogers, exactly.
I mean, not
without makeup and wigs, and men wearing wigs now too. So hey, listen, if you can't imagine waking up,
I don't mean to say ugly, but when they. Because
I have my ugly days where I forget to take my makeup and I wake up with raccoon eyes, makeup all over. I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Put it like this. If you're not comfortable having sex with your girl with that bonnet on, or with the with the PJs that got all the holes in them, or just like the blase, like there are a lot of things I think. Especially when you're coming out of the relationships, when you're able to be free and have multiple partners, or be kind of in between situations, it's always a show, right? When me and Miss Kiki, when me and her were dating, there was never a time where we kind of half-assed. We always wore the nice cologne. Always had my hair cut. She always had her makeup done. Always had the nice clothes on, matching bra and panty kind of shit, It was always a show. It was always a spectacle. So we were still courting. We were still trying to get to know each other. We were still trying to win each other over. Eventually, as you start dating, those things wear off. Now, sometimes that's a lot for people to handle, and they be like, shit,
Right.
it's not, you not as pretty without your makeup, or you don't look as good when you don't have your hair cut. And that's a lot for people to handle. And sometimes they tolerate it because they feel like it's the right thing to do. And then that's when you have these situations where people are in unhappy relationships, and then they take it as far as, and then it gets too deep, right? Now, so now you can't get out of it because you got kids, or now, maybe you made a huge investment together and now it's hard to get out of it. And to that I say, well, if you are keeping it a buck, don't do it for the sake of not hurting anybody's feelings, because at the end, it's just going to be worse later on down the road.
Yep.
Right.
And again, this is why, and I'm not trying to push anyone to live with each other. I know for dang sure my mom was not approving of CJ and I moving in when I was 18.
Showing the hell what?
That was a
18?
tough time. 8 going on 19, yeah.
Yeah.
But to the point of friendship.
Damn.
That allowed us to develop a friendship, a bond. Because sometimes, when people, you can fall out of love. Sometimes you're like, I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. And if you don't have that friendship to fall back on to help you rediscover why you fell in love with them in the first place, I also believe that is a contributor of why some marriages or just relationships fail.
Yes. And that's a challenge, because when we did move in together, I was never, I'm a guy. I was a little messy, right? I might let the dish,
that part
should get cleaned up, but I'm gonna let the dishes sit for a while. I'm gonna let the clean laundry sit in the basket for a while. Yes. If it ain't gonna get up and walk out the house, it's gonna get done on my time. Again, and that's how I felt.
Why you need to live with someone to make sure that you can deal with that for the rest of your
exactly
lives.
Because what I was gonna say is, she is way more OCD and tidy. It's like, well, I'm gonna get it done now kind of thing. But then she cusses me out because she asked me to do it, and it's like, I'm not doing it on her time. And so, but that took a lot of, and some people can't handle that. And it's like, well, I'm gonna stick around, and then they become unhappy. But little nuances like that can really drive wedges into your relationship. And then they make everything, even the small things, bigger, right? And so, that's where friendship really, really becomes paramount in a relationship, when those little nuances rear their head, or when you start getting frustrated with, with your significant other as to why, why they are the way they are. Like when shit just bothers you, and then you have to go back and say, okay, wait a minute. I've known them for, now Kiara's 15 years. Yeah. I've known her for 15 years. Right. I know her. And so certain things I just know not to do now. And that's because I've developed a friendship with her. Now, yeah, you're going to get clowned by your boys. How you spend all this time with your girl. Y'all do everything. You can't do nothing without her, blah, blah, blah. But to that I say, okay, but am I living my life to impress them, niggas all the time? Like, not necessarily. I mean, no shade, but, it's expensive to date and be single and keep that lifestyle up. And
I don't want to ever have to go date again.
Man, never. I'm telling you, I'm just going to be paying for pussy if we break up. Shit. I got $40. Who need it?
I mean, technically, you were always paying for it if you want to take it there.
Hello.
Because, hello. You would say, if I pay for dinner in a movie, you know what the deal is.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely. Can I get an amen? Okay. I mean, shit. Ain't shit free. And that's true. That's the truth. And that applies to relationships. Nothing is free, right? You got to put the time in, the equity and all that good stuff.
You know what we didn't mention is just the respect piece too, because you can love someone and not respect them. But when you're friends, you respect your friends, you value your friends, your friend opinions, their judgments and things like that. And so just being able to communicate with your spouse or your partner, and just, I know men in general would be like, oh, you're weak because you asked for your wife's permission. But it's not about asking permission to say yes or no. It's just that respect piece. And I know in the episode we didn't record, you went into some details about that. So
yeah, I did, unfortunately. And I don't remember shit I said. But what I did say like we don't. None of this is scripted, y'all. Unfortunately, but what I did say was you have to let that connotation go that I can't be a man and still respect my wife's her feelings about certain things, right? Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, I put it like this: if my wife had guy friends, which she did, he was gay, but still, and he was my boy too. But there were still certain things that kind of I was uneasy about, She respected that, and I that's how I feel about it. Like even if she had straight guy friends, which she did, she had a lot of straight guy friends. There was just certain things that we just like, hey, okay, listen, let's make sure we got boundaries and this and that, woo-de-woo. And I respect that. And then you just have to put the trust and faith in them that they're going to respect that. And it's not, to me, it's just respect. Hey, is it okay if I go study with such and such? Or is it okay if we work on this? Before I met Kiara, I used to write music with some of my female friends. A lot of times they'd be over real late. Nothing ever happened. But I would always let her know what was going on, right? And I think, your boys kind of get you and be like, man, you got to ask her to do everything. You got to change drawers and this and that. Does she hold your dick when you piss too? And to that I say, yes, sometimes. No, but to that I say, it's just a level of respect. Like if I would want that same level of respect, right? Because I think when you start just assuming that people are going to be okay with things, then that's when the problems come up. It's like, well, 100%. Why would you think I would say this and do that?
Because exactly, let's talk about that. When you start assuming that your friend, partner, your lover
okay, now.
feels a type of way and you're not actually communicating with them, then yes, that's when problems arise. Because then when you start, all the assumptions become, well, I know they don't care. Oh, I know she don't care if I do this. Or I know she don't care if I go here, or he don't care if I do this. When in reality, your partner is cognizant of what's going on. They have their speculations. They start to create doubt and become insecure in themselves. And then what happens?
And that's when shit starts stewing. Mm-hmm. And so I just think like open communication. And again, you just got to be. It really just comes down to falling in love with a friend, right? And you can do. We just talked about how our relationship started. It was a physical attraction. Yeah. We wouldn't have met each other had it not been us being physically attracted to each other.
Right.
And that does include sexually, right? Moms, dads, cover y'all ears. But that piece was there first, and then we developed a friendship. There are some people that do it the opposite way, which where they're friends first, and then they happen to have
intimate relationship
kindle out of that friendship, and then it ends up being a great thing. There's no real right. Ooh, that was a tongue twister. There's no real right way to do it, but I think in both instances you have to have some level of friendship. Now we're gonna segue from the friendship side of things to the love. Because this is a lovers and friends episode.
Right.
That is the challenge when you are married to, you hear it all the time in these little soppy the wedding vows. I get to marry my best friend and this and that. But there are some caveats to marrying your best friend and your best friend being your partner. Because sometimes the intimacy, I wouldn't say it can fall off, but it can be a challenge to
subdued. Yep.
To keep things, keep the love side of the relationship always in the forefront without getting muddy with the friendship. So you can talk about that.
Yeah. Since it is love social, the social part of our friendship hinders our intimacy, I would say. And I would just put that, when we have very busy lives. So by the time we both are home, the kids are kind of settled in. Instead of spending that time loving on each other,
getting some nasty time. I'm sorry, I had to use that.
It is often me watching something on Netflix by myself, and CJ I always tease him. I call it twiddling his thumbs. I just mean he's scrolling through social media, reading something on the NFL. And I feel like that social part kind of overshadows me and makes me feel like I've been friend zoned sometimes.
It's not my fault. Football is year round, okay?
Exactly. It's supposed to be a good few months, but it's always a year round thing. You know what I wake up every morning to? Motherfucking
Good Morning Football.
Good Morning Football.
Yes, ma'am. And then Good Morning Seattle, or what is it? Good Day Seattle.
That's never on. It's always football.
Listen, okay. We do. I wouldn't say there's distance in our love life. And I have the special caveat. I'm talking about love life from a just kind of the, what do they call it? The romance side of the relationship.
Yeah.
Our sex life is fine.
Yes.
It's great. And we did a whole couple episodes. We did a few episodes last season about our sex life. It's very much out there.
VR. Yeah. Check those out.
But where we do struggle a little bit is the affectionate side of things. And that's because I will take some of the blame. I am distracted by I wouldn't say I'm distracted by my phone. It's just that it's always there and there's always something to do on it. Now, but believe it or not, it's not that, I wouldn't say that it's more important, because women be like, well, why are you always on your phone? It's like, well, it's not, nothing on this phone is more important than you or my kids, but it's just, it's interesting, right? And then that's where the friendship comes in. Sometimes we can segue off and we be talking about when we have conversations about we find in the phone. But then sometimes it does become a hindrance, right? Especially when because I'm sorry, I can't listen to two people at the same time. So if I'm listening to something on the phone, and then this motherfucker want to talk to me at the same time, and it's like, bro,
oh my goodness!
And it's like you see me watching something.
That's because I feel if you start hearing my voice, then you should close off whatever you doing on your phone and listen to me.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like you want to talk when you clearly see me watching something,
and I get the and I'll be like,
and you be like, what I say?
Exactly.
What I say?
You see,
you ain't even listening. See, and blah blah blah, and it's like, and it just creates negative time. Negative. It's negative. But for me, I think that is a challenge. I've been trying to work on it. I've been trying to come home and put my phone down. But I'm gonna say this: if she got her phone up, I got my phone up. Point blank. Period.
That is his.
Period.
Oh, you got your okay. Here I go.
But I'm on it as long as she is. So as long as she put it down, I'm putting it down. She pick it up and pick it up. But I'm just like I said. I'm on Instagram, and a lot of times I'm sending her shit. It ain't like I'm on there sending her reels and stuff. But it can, and that's where his friendship kicks in, and it can help. But again, not every relationship is perfect. That's one of our I wouldn't say it's an Achilles heel. It's just something we've been working on. We've been very openly aware of that. We need to have more downtime from the technology and stuff because that right now that's what is distracting us from because I love my wife and I love loving on my wife. I wouldn't put 3 kids in there if I didn't. But it does it can I wouldn't say ruin things. It just puts wrinkles. Yeah, it puts a wrinkle in things sometimes. So.
It's a mood killer.
Yes. No, what do you mean a mood killer?
It's a mood killer.
Let me look at the wall because I remember.
Because you know that if you're up there twiddling your thumbs and I have to look at it because look, he does not have peripheral vision. I will stare at him for 5 minutes straight and he wouldn't even know. So if I have to do that, you ain't getting no ass.
I know she always go. Mm-hmm. We'll see how interesting that phone is when you ain't getting no cookie tonight.
Hello.
All right. Mm-hmm.
Hello. Because that phone was more interesting at that point in time. Don't be trying to find. I knew you was trying to find.
Oh, I was looking for something. I was looking for the.
So yes, that is the only challenge I have with the friendship part is because we are such good friends. We can be our authentic selves around each other. Like literally, if we didn't have kids, we probably wouldn't walk around in clothes because we're just that comfortable around each other. But because of that, because of that comfortability, I would say, there's also a reduction in the intimacy because we spend a lot of time, like you said, we might be sending memes back and forth, reels back and forth, social media and to media together.
We do a lot. We do a lot of stuff on our phones, and it's always a show on. And if it's not the show,
my God,
if
the shows.
If it's not our shows and it's not our phones, then it's work. So, and then if it's not work, it's the kids. And so it's a lot. It's a lot that takes our time. Yeah. Right. It's a lot that takes our time, and a lot of times, we don't have time to break away. Like when we lived in this apartment complex when we moved out here, and we only had 2 kids at the time, and then they both happened to be in school. So one day, since I'm a business owner, I just left work, took an extended lunch, and I think you were working from home. Maybe not working. I don't think you were working at the time. This is when we had just moved down here, and then we got in the pool at the apartment. Like we was hanging out in the pool because this is the one fucking time we used the pool. That was the one time we used the pool. The second time we used it is when my mom came in town and we were able to get in there and she was able to chill poolside. That we used that pool 2 fucking times. And that's how it goes. Like, that was fun. Everything else we do, we always do it with the kids. So then sometimes, it does become a challenge to find time to love on each other. Yep. You know.
But what I will say about you is that, irregardless of the fact that we have very little
favorite
time,
word, that irregardless, yeah,
very little time together alone, you do find time to continue on the dating. Like, that's what, in a friendship, in a marriage, just a relationship in general, don't forget to date one another. Take them out. Do whatever it is that you guys enjoy to do. Dinner, movie, whatever it is. Skating. I don't know. Axe throwing.
Leave it to Kiara. Leave it to Kiara. We wouldn't know because she don't be knowing. I do all the spontaneous stuff.
And I love that because I am very, very challenged when it comes to thinking of surprises.
And she can't keep surprises. Just like what was that Christmas when you got me my red Tims that I had one in.
That's because you kept bugging me about them.
And you was like, "Why don't you try them on?" I'm like, "Why you trying?" But dang, I got them for you at the house for Christmas. Like, you didn't have to tell me that. You could have came up with a clever way.
Because he was about to buy the things his damn self, so I had to stop and just tell him I already got them at home.
Well, I was just saying because
you're an impulse buyer, so I can't keep things from you because if I tell you no too many times, you could just gonna go do it anyway.
I'm gonna ask for forgiveness, not
exactly.
But that like you said, I think that helps. You know, a lot of the spontaneous things we do. Yep. Like the hotel for our anniversary. Now again, we had to drag the kids. We dragged the kids everywhere. Okay. All the Great Wolf Lodge.
They just are shadows at this point, but yes, they're there.
Now, having said that, we make. And this is why I think the friendship comes back into play. We make time to be intimate and get freaky in spite of all of that, you know, in spite of the kids and in our jobs and careers and stuff like that. And even the tech, we find time to love on each other, right? Or we wouldn't be where we're at, right? I just think that it could be better, right? We could if we get back to 2008, I say between 2000. When do we have a stink?
Ooh,
2013,
2014.
Well,
I'm telling her.
between 2008 and 2014, we were unbound by any children, and so any real responsibility but each other, right? So, if we can get back to that, I think that'll put another, that'll just take the relationship to another level. But it's not impossible. It just takes more work with the tech, with all this stuff.
And you had mentioned the kids. I know that was a challenge for you within our relationship, is that you felt like put the kids
challenge for you. Make it seem like I don't want my kids. Of course I want my kids.
I'm speaking from the fact that you felt put on the back burner when the kids came along.
Wow.
And to an extent you did, because, I always thought, and kind of still, I'm like 50-50 on this, that your kids come first. But then
most women, most moms, feel the same way.
But, yeah, and I used to frown on those that put men first, especially if they weren't married to them. But being that you are my husband, my partner for life, I am inclined
I just gotta.
to for life. You're stuck with me for life.
Jesus.
Being that you are my partner for life, I am inclined to put more work into you, because when the kids are gone, it's just going to be you and I again. And I don't want to spend that time like most people, empty nesters. Then they decide they want to get a divorce because they don't have any kids and they don't have a friendship and they don't have any love between them anymore. I want to make sure that our love is everlasting and our friendship continues to thrive through all the challenges that we'll go through with the kids. So when it comes to our kids, you're first, they're second, because again, you'll always be there when they won't.
Absolutely. And another thing is, don't be afraid to admire other couples. I think a lot of people would be like, they always try to poke holes in something that they just don't think, they just can't fathom that it's so perfect, right? Not every relationship is perfect, and that's the reality of things, right? But don't always point out flaws in everybody's situations, like, well, they got together like this, or, you know, he probably don't really this, or she only with him because of that. Like, see things for what you see. Like, if you think they're a bomb ass couple, yeah, it's okay to say, look, hey man, y'all are a bomb ass couple. What's y'all secret? You know, we have a lot of couples, our friends. We have a lot of friends that are dating, and they are friends with us as couples, you know, and I think that's important. You know, you want to surround yourself with people that are also in similar situations, because, and not just like, you know, we have friends that have kids like us, and our best friends have kids our age, you know, that our kids and their kids are the same age. They're more like family. We have friends that are going through some rough patches. We have friends that, you know, that we, you know, we were all in relationships together. Don't think you can't learn from any relationship at any level either. You know, the new couple can teach you how to keep it spicy. Right, so you like, man, y'all always going on dates. Like, you know, we got a couple right now. They're always going out and having a good time. And I'm like, man, I look at them like, man, I miss that, man. We used to do that a lot. And you know, I try not to hate. You know, I know in the back of my mind I'd be like, wait till they have kids. You know, but then at the same time I was just like, no, you know what?
Like, damn, they living their best life and we stuck with kids.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm like, you know what? I admire them because they're taking advantage of their, you know, their friendship, and they are real friends. Like, I mean, we know that they're real friends because because that's what we know them as. So we learn from them. We have a couple that's friends, and they're the couple that we really look up to. That's like super successful. They're wealthy, you know, and they got older kids, but you know, they're very humble and they're very nice. And we always look at them, but we don't be like, well, let's see how long this lasts. Or, you know, it's never hate. It's all love, you know, because every couple, every relationship you can learn from. So just keep an open eye for things that you like. And, you know, obviously, if it's a relationship that you don't agree with, or, you know, it ain't your place. It's not your place and it's not your business. And sometimes that can be a challenge, you know, to just really keep yourself out of people's shit. But at the same time, like, if it's not affecting you directly or your relationship directly, you know, it's none of your business. You
Mind the business that pays you.
Exactly. So to me, like I said, the friendship, there's no which one comes first, right? It's not love, and then what is it? Love and marriage, like
love and marriage.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. But you just gotta have a good mix. You gotta have a good mixture of both. It doesn't matter how the relationship started, whether you guys started off lusting over each other and then developed a friendship, or vice versa. It's just a matter of you know, figuring out, riding the wave and compromising and having open communication and all of that good stuff. Any final thoughts on this topic?
I think you summed it up well. I don't have anything else to add. Of course, you ain't got nothing to put you on the spot. Now you guys put me on the spot. Because you literally just summed it up. I agree. I would just say, if your relationship is built on lust, please find a common ground.
Yeah,
Because
find,
could you
find
imagine?
time to become friends.
Yeah, could you imagine being married to, loving someone and having no other connection other than physical attraction? I mean, what is in that is not that's not blah, 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 blah. That cannot
All right,
keep
we only got so much
you
instrumental
sane
now.
or happy. All right, all right. I'm
no,
done.
no, that's
I'm
good.
done.
That's good. and I will leave it by this. My uncle, I asked him right around the time we got married. I said, how is it that you and my aunt, they've been married for 40 some odd years? How have they been able to stay together so long and everything like that? And he just said it's just communication. And
Bingo.
communication, and he told me that always put your wife first. Always make sure that you guys are good in the relationship, and everything. Life is all about relationships, but especially with your significant other, you want to make sure that y'all are always good. If you're not friends with your spouse, what are you really doing?
And one thing friends always are okay doing is apologizing when they know that they're in the wrong. Took me a while to get there, and sometimes I don't say the words "I'm sorry," but I will show that I'm sorry.
Exactly.
So if I could leave you with one word of advice, and this was shared to me on our wedding day, is a key to a happy marriage is never to go to bed mad at each other. So always resolve your issues before you go to sleep, especially since we know that every day is not promised. So every day is a blessing. Make sure you live each and every day to the fullest potential of your relationships.
Exactly. Let us know what y'all think. Follow us at Love Social ENT. That's on Instagram. And you can also follow my page. My page is not private, but this is episode 2, season 2 of Love Social, Loves and Friends. I am CJ from the Ski. That's Miss KikiBaby.
KikiBaby.
We are out.
Peace.